You are listening to the Good Day Wellness Podcast, a podcast dedicated to boosting your mood. I am your host, Malissa Fedele, and I'm here to support you on the way to calming your mind and nourishing all aspects of your life. Together, we can bridge the connection between body and mind and make every day a good day. Hello, welcome back. Today I have a very short and sweet little episode for you, but I think you're going to find it really, really helpful. I am going to share with you my top 5 money-saving nutrition hacks. The cost of living is rising. It doesn't seem to be getting any easier. And the first thing I always hear people saying is, eating healthy is too expensive. Being healthy is too expensive, which is just a limitation that we have put on ourselves. It is completely untrue. It doesn't mean anything. It is just something we have told ourselves to make ourselves feel better about not making healthy choices. Okay, regardless of the climate, regardless of, the cost of living, we can make really healthy, wholesome choices that are going to nourish us on a deeper level with a small budget. And I'm going to share my top 5 tips to help you achieve that. Okay. Now, healthy eating is, there's so many things that go into healthy eating, nourishing your body and finding wholesome choices that make you feel good from the inside out. And I think the first thing we need to remember before I get into my tips is that being healthy doesn't necessarily mean having all the superfoods, only shopping at your local health food store, doing things that are only labeled organic or whatever. It's not about that. It's not about fancy labels. It's not about fancy packaging or names or any of that. It is about shopping smarter and using strategies that will help you make healthy eating more affordable and sustainable. Alrighty. So my number 1 tip, and this is something that if you do this consecutively every single week, you will slash your grocery bills, okay? And it is planning your meals and shopping smarter, okay? Taking time to sit down and actually plan what you are eating throughout the week. This is the biggest money-saving tip I can give you. It does require time, it does require energy, but it will save you money, okay? Because if you are sitting down and you're planning your meals and you can plan your shopping list around 5 or 6 different 5 or 6 different recipes throughout the whole week, you are going to save a lot more money than making a different meal using a whole range of different ingredients every single meal of the week, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is, if I'm, for example, my primary source of protein for the week is going to be chicken, I'm going to buy a whole chicken, I'm going to break the chicken down, I'm going to eat that 3 nights of the week, and then on the other nights, I'm going to, see what else is on special. Maybe I have a vegetarian dish, maybe I have some legumes, and I'll use similar ingredients in each of those meals. So that way I'm only buying, a basket full of groceries that I know are going to work across all of the recipes that I'm making. Compared to if I sit down and I don't sit down and I just go to the shop and I'm thinking, oh, Monday night I'll have chicken, Tuesday night I'll have beef, Wednesday night I'll have prawns, and then I'll have fish, and then I'll have veg. You're buying double, if not triple, the amount of groceries that you would if you just sat down and actually planned your meals. So take some time, whatever day you do your shopping, before you go and do the shopping, sit down, plan your meals, write how much you're going to need of everything, and then go to the shops and get what you need. Now, in saying this, I just want to talk about the shop smart part of this point. But don't be afraid to try different grocery stores. Leave a bit of extra time. And I know it's easy for me to say because, I don't have children. But if you can go to the shop and leave some extra time and not rush, you will then have time to go to Aldi, maybe you'll go to Woolies, maybe you'll go to Coles, maybe you'll go to the local fruit and veg store, you'll go to the butcher. You can compare prices. You can see what's more available. You can see who's having a special, and you can actually make budget-friendly options that are going to be so much better for your wallet for that week, okay? So that is a big thing. Leave enough time to make sure you're shopping smart, and don't be afraid to, go to different stores and get what you need. And in saying this, always look for seasonal foods, okay? When you're shopping and you're planning your meals, plan it around seasonal produce. Get your head around understanding what's in season, and then base your meals around that, because you will find that those foods, especially whole foods and fresh foods, will be a lot cheaper than if they're not in season, okay? My second tip is to buy in bulk and learn how to store your food properly, okay? So buying in bulk, like if you can go to a store and you see something's on special and you can get more of it than you would normally need, and then you figure out how to properly store that food, whether that's, a whole grain, whether that's meat, whether that is a vegetable, and figuring out how can I, preserve the freshness of this food and reduce waste by storing it properly. Okay, I have really spent a lot of time over the last few months trying to properly understand how to store my food properly. For example, how to properly store my herbs, how to store my meat properly, how to get the longest life out of all of the fresh food that I buy, so vegetables, things that used to last me a couple days now last me sometimes a couple of weeks, because I've figured out how to properly store them. So buy in bulk when you can and learn how to store your food properly. I'm actually going to do a whole series around storing your food properly, which I'll be putting on my membership website. So stay tuned for that, because there are so many hacks that we can use that will make your produce and all of your food go so much further. And that is going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Now, tip number 3 is use budget-friendly protein sources. I know that my first tip was kind of planning your meals and understanding what your proteins of choice are going to be for the week. But if you get to the store and you figure out that, that cut of protein is a lot more expensive than what you thought it would be, figure out what other cuts of meat you can actually use. Okay, so that's my first tip there. The second tip is understanding where you can get different sources of protein from. For example, maybe actual protein like meat is too expensive, so you're going to opt for beans and legumes and frozen options as well. So things like tofu, lentils, tuna, all of these other sources that can be a lot more affordable. Okay. Another tip here when it comes to protein, because protein usually is one of the things that is a lot more expensive. But if you're making a recipe that requires quite large portions of protein, figure out how you can halve the protein and add in something a lot more affordable. For example, adding in more vegetables, adding in a grain, or adding in something like beans, that so you can halve the amount of protein, but you're still getting a lot of fullness and a lot of nutrition from other sources. Okay, so that way, if you're buying meat, you can halve it and use it in more meals throughout the week. Okay. Not only is that more cost effective, but adding diversity to your meals is a great way to support your gut health as well. So that's just a good little tip when it comes to your protein sources, as they can often be the more expensive purchase when you're doing your grocery shopping. Now, tip number 4 is reducing food waste and getting creative in the kitchen. Okay. I love on a Sunday or, whatever day, usually it's actually a Friday, let's be honest, a Friday or a Thursday. I will do kind of like a mystery box challenge. I will see what's in my fridge, I will see what's in my freezer and in my pantry, and I will get creative and I'll put something together. I know this can be a little bit daunting, and I know a lot of us like to follow recipes or have a bit of inspiration from things we see online. But getting creative in the kitchen and doing things like this, where you're using exactly what you have, is such a great way to develop your skills in the kitchen, which ends up saving you a lot of money because you'll start getting really savvy with how you're using the foods that you have available to you. So get creative. Spend one day a week doing a clean out day where you make up a recipe using whatever you have left. And you will often be very pleasantly surprised with some of the dishes that you're able to actually put together. Okay, another little good tip here, and it's more so on the reducing food waste side, is when you go to the store, the grocery store, they will have a section where they've got their ugly produce, okay? And all it means is just a piece of vegetable or something that has grown and it looks a bit odd, but it is still just as good. It still tastes as good. It does the job. And don't throw out things that just because they don't look perfect doesn't mean they can't, be added to your meals. They certainly can, and they will often be a lot more affordable, okay? And in terms of reducing that waste and getting creative in the kitchen as well, is looking at how you can make things from scratch using what you have. So, for example, making stocks from scratch is a great money saving tip because if you're buying a decent quality stock, it's usually quite expensive. Whereas if I'm buying a whole chicken, and I break down the chicken and I've got a leftover chicken carcass, I will then use that with any leftover bits of, carrot or celery or herbs, and I'll make myself a chicken stock. And then I'll freeze that. I'll make a lot of it and freeze it. And then I've got my stock. I don't have to buy it. Same with dressings, same with snacks. You can use what you've got at home to make those pantry and fridge staples that will be a much more affordable option. Now, my last tip, so tip number 5, is to cook more and eat out less. Cooking at home saves you so much more money. It is so much more affordable to cook your meals from scratch. And not only is it more affordable, but you are fully open and aware to everything you're putting in your body. And it makes going out to eat such a better experience. It makes it more of a pleasurable experience because it's such a treat when you do go out to eat. I think, we rely so much on eating out or getting things like Uber Eats or whatever it may be. But it is playing a big role in the amount of money we spend on food each week. It is a big expense. So doing your best to cook more at home is a really great money saving tip. For example, when you're cooking, cook extra, batch cook, freeze things, leave things in the fridge, have things on hand when you need them. It is a really good money saving tip as well as a great nutrition tip to help you maintain good levels of nutrition and nourishment throughout the week. Alrighty. So they're my 5 tips. Just to break them down. Number 1, plan your meals and shop smart. Number 2, buy in bulk and learn how to store your food properly. 3, use budget-friendly protein sources. 4, reduce your food waste and get creative in the kitchen. And 5, cook more and eat out less. Alrighty? I hope that those tips are helpful for you. I hope that they, contribute to making living a healthier lifestyle so much more affordable. If you need budget-friendly recipe ideas, you want to learn how to nourish your body deeper, make sure to get my ebook, Boost Your Mood with Food. It's filled with so many delicious, easy recipes in there that kind of take out that stress and overwhelm and really nourish your body. And don't forget, you have the power to boost your mood. It's all in your daily routines. So go make today a good day. Bye. Mwah.